At the same time that the Republicans are bargaining with Biden about raising the debt ceiling and putting on the chopping block, basically insert a social program, insert something the government does. It's all gonna be cut. There are some things they wanna maintain, and weirdly, considering how much of a focus they've put on wanting to take down the deficit and worried about the national debt, although they didn't worry about it under Donald Trump or George W. Bush or Reagan or any of them. They do wanna continue the Trump tax cuts for the rich, which would individually, just continuing that for the next chunk of years, would add $3.5 trillion. Now that's future debt. They've already added trillions of dollars from the first set of years off of the Trump tax cuts. So the fact that the deficit needs to be brought down, inevitably, as it always is, by a Democratic president who comes in after a Republican and then desperately has to take down the deficit again. All that it contributed to the national debt. They don't talk about that. They don't have an issue with that. That's all free, except that it's not. It costs something, but the benefits go to the richest people of the country, so they're perfectly fine with it. On the other hand, I guess to make up for the $3.5 trillion, they want to balance the scales. And I need you to evaluate whether you think this is a fair balance. They want to reduce government spending to 2022 levels, take back COVID funding, expand work requirements, as we've talked about, for welfare programs, food stamps, end the student loan payment pause, and block any relief for student debtors, protect gas ovens. What the hell that has to do with anything, I don't know, but this is just supposed to be a fantastical grab bag. And roll back large parts of the Inflation Reduction Act, which wouldn't just reduce some of the benefit from that, but a lot of the benefit from the IRA was designed to provide jobs all over the place. Not just in the coasts or in blue cities. There are tons of red districts that if they do this, if they successfully cut the IRA, are gonna lose a bunch of jobs, and that's why he's having trouble winning over a number of Republicans on this. And so look, there's a lot here, but it is an amazing, JR, that in one fell swoop, they'll blow a multi-trillion-dollar hole in the deficit and the debt. And then to balance it, not even to balance it out, it's not gonna save nearly as much. They wanna cut effectively everything.
This is the plan, right? This is what it's always been. These are the same things over and over and over again. And anybody who follows politics through more than one cycle, being in presidential and then midterms where Congress folks and senators are trying to reposition themselves, you'll always find these promises or things that they say they're gonna do, or then the fights over stuff like inflation and then the debt and deficit and constant. It goes in the same cycles over and over and over again. And again, just even from the first time with these Trump tax cuts, no, they don't acknowledge the damage that it did to the economy. It doesn't damage, they don't talk about the damage it does to regular folks. Because for some reason they feel, and maybe they're right, they've conditioned enough regular folks into feeling like, yeah, we deserve to be in this position where we just suck. We can't afford anything. We have no recourse with our government that we pay into. And everybody's supposed at the top is supposed to keep getting our money. It's supposed to keep happening that way. We're supposed to give them our money. And I'm not sure why they keep thinking that folks are gonna keep buying this. As he then said, get a house and then you get a job, then you can buy a house. Where? With what money?
Yeah.
Then if you get these extra, these work requirements, then people can make more money, higher wages. From where? From the same folks that you're not forcing to pay anyone any higher wages than the bare minimum? Where's that gonna come from? There's never the second question. It's the simplest questions ever. Hey, Kevin, where? Hey, when? Yeah. Who's gonna do this? How is this gonna work out? There's never those answers. It's just, it'll just happen that way. We can cut 3.5 trillion more and damage this economy further. Then after we lose our midterms and maybe even presidential elections, we'll then blame the Democrats who are trying to figure this whole thing out. Man, it's the same cycle.
Yeah, and there's never even can you imagine if Matt Gaetz, who gets hundreds of thousands of dollars of COVID relief, just forgiven, it's gone. That he had to take, we're gonna, you got the money, whatever, but we are gonna need something out of you. So we're gonna have you do some community service, to give back. So much has been given to you. So you're gonna have to do 30 hours a week of community service. Or for the bankers who get bailed out to the tune of billions of dollars, we saved you, but you guys have obviously proven to be irresponsible. So the CEO, the CFO, the board, all of you are gonna have to take intense ethics and business responsibility courses for the next 2 years or whatever. There's never any onus. There's no personal shaming or requirements placed onto them for monumentally larger sums of money than the parent who needs food stamps. Because you taking the food stamps, that isn't a structural thing. That's not a systemic issue. That's on you. You failed, so now you need to pay. Forget the fact that every single thing he said about work requirements has been proven over and over and over again to not be true. Every word out of him is a myth. Even if it was true, it is still designed to shame, to stigmatize. But we would never shame and stigmatize the CEO because they're better than us. They're smarter than us. They're more moral than us. We're peasants and we should be looking up to them. We should be worshiping them. They're probably geniuses. Even though they get way more money, way more focus, way more immediate accountability from the government. Isn't it weird how that always works out?
You know, we always talk about how regular folks are lazy. I'm sorry, you have more to go. We have to go to the break.
No. You get the final point.
We talk about the laziness of regular folks all the time. Not we, but politicians. Laziness of regular folks. Go get a job. How dare you guys actually want some kind of assistance for the system that you paid into? Apparently, you're a citizen of the greatest country in the history of the world. We keep telling everyone that, but there's no benefit to that. What the F is the point of being a citizen of this great country if you're treated like a non-citizen? If you're treated like someone who they absolutely hate. Every turn you're getting talked about how much a piece of garbage that you are, even though you keep fulfilling this role in this government that you get nothing back from. They've somehow told everyone that that's the approach. A perfect example, what about these CEOs and everyone what kind of work are they doing? Are we monitoring the work they do on a daily basis? Hey, there's a guy who points out everything he does every day. He's a CEO, he owns Twitter. His name is Elon Musk. This guy is a perfect example of how little people like him, not saying every CEO, people like him do, which is little to nothing. And then as we're gonna find out later, likes to just tweet. And that's the purpose of his life. And we're gonna praise people like that instead of the folks who work their ass off every day and then we call them pieces of garbage. Yo, the upside down nature of the country is on full display. It's a matter of whether or not the people who are getting destroyed over this are gonna finally realize it, man.
Jared, he just was interviewed and said, there's like a day or two a year where I don't do a significant amount of work. Who the hell thinks that? Who the hell thinks that? Oh, he's got opportunities for work. He's the CEO of like 7 companies. Yeah. Ask him to name them. Off the top of his head, name the different obligations that you have that you should be doing on a day. He couldn't even remember it. And Tesla has been given billions of dollars from the government. He's not gonna be required to check in every week with an employment office or anything, or maybe put down the phone. Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.